If you're a Mac user and you've downloaded the multi-user version of JobPro, which means that you'd need to have FileMaker Pro on your own computer, well then open up the unzipped downloaded zip file and simply double click on the JobPro icon to open up JobPro. But if you've downloaded the single user version of JobPro, which means that you don't have FileMaker Pro on your own computer, well then you can either open up the main application, the JobPro Central application, which essentially is a runtime version of FileMaker, or you can alternatively open up the JobPro icon. If you're a Windows user and you've downloaded either the zip file for the multi-user version of JobPro or the runtime single-user version of JobPro because you don't have FileMaker Pro, well either way what you need to do is fully extract the files from the zip file and don't try and launch them from within the zip file. So what I mean by that is if we double click on the multi-user download, we're now viewing the contents of the zip file, and instead of drilling into here and opening up the JobPro file, what we need to do is either drag out or copy and paste out the JobPro folder from the zip file. So the easiest way to do that is to right click, select copy, and then on your desktop select paste, and then that will extract out the JobPro folder from within the downloaded zip file. If you try to launch JobPro from within the zip file, you'll get an error saying that this file is read-only. So to open up JobPro, we go into the uncompressed version and we simply would double click on the JobPro icon. Now this is the multi-user version, which requires you to have FileMaker Pro on your own computer. If we go into the runtime version and we'll select copy, and we'll paste that on the desktop. And once that's extracted onto the desktop, we click into the folder and we click into JobPro Central Files, and in here we've got the JobPro Central application or exe file, and we double click on that to launch the application. So let's open JobPro. We'll use the multi-user version for this video. So double click on the JobPro icon. That'll open up FileMaker on your computer. And we click agree to the first initial message in relation to the license agreement. And then click continue in relation to the next message to do the getting started PDF guide. Now, so the first time we open JobPro, we get a quick start screen to guide us through some of the initial settings that you'll require to enter into the system. First, we've got the company name. So let's put in a company name. And we specify whether we use A4 size paper or US letter. We specify what we call tax, VAT, GST, or you can enter in your own 3-digit tax name as well. You can put in your base currency, and you can specify that when you print documents like quotes, sales orders, invoices, purchase orders, and various other documents, you can specify the default language to be a number of different languages. Also worth noting that on printing various documents, you can change the language at that time of printing a document as well. So if we go on to the next screen, this screen is related to stock and inventory control. So if this isn't relevant to your organization, you can click on next. But if you do track stock, these are the defaults, so that every time you create a new product in the system, it defaults to tracking stock for that item. So for example, we can turn on the default for when creating a new item products module. Also, you can specify that whether you track items individually, which is by serial number. So we can turn that on there as well, or leave it off. When you turn it off, it asks you, do you want to actually turn off the units module from displaying throughout the system in the menu? The units module is basically anywhere that you track stock by serial numbers. Every serial number in the system is treated as a unit or quantity of 1, and that's what the units module is. So you can also track batches as well. Batches are related to serial numbers. For example, if you purchase 10 items and they're all tracked by serial numbers, well then on receiving those goods you'll be prompted to specify the serial number for each of those items. But at that time you can also create a batch for that 10. Or alternatively, if you manufacture or assemble items, once they're being assembled, you can assign serial numbers and batches to those items that have been assembled. Also, you can specify whether you normally track stock at multiple locations in the system as well. So turning on or off these items, you can also specify that whether you want to display or not display the relevant modules like the locations module, the batches module, or the units module in the menu throughout the system. So for anyone that doesn't use these functionality, you should leave these turned off so that the menu at the top of every screen is more simplified and has less options. So the next screen allows you to turn off or on modules in the system. So if you're not going to use certain modules, then turn them off. So the modules menu that appears throughout the system only displays the relevant options. That way the system will feel simpler and easier to use and learn. Click on Next, and in here we've got two different columns for each of the modules in the system. We can turn off and on modules. So for example, if we want to track multiple locations, we can click on that, and if we don't, we can turn it off. If we don't track purchase orders, turn that off or leave it on if you do. There's also another column here in relation to, as a default, when opening up the system, whether a module grouping, you can see here that this group is called CRM or work, the next group is called sales, and the next group is called inventory. That when you open up JobPro for the first time, that whether a group of icons display as a default or not. Now on the modules menu up the top, you can actually toggle that when you're using the system anyway to show or hide a set of icons for different modules. So that's what this option allows here. The top option up here, this allows you to specify whether you actually want to group module icons at all in the system. Grouping modules into groups for their icons is beneficial if you've got a smaller monitor, and I'll show you now in a second when we log in what I mean. So if we click Finish, and then we need to log in. So initially when you log in, you can log in as a user called Joe Blogs with a password of JB. Now once you log in, you can set up your own employees to log in as well. So here we are on the initial home screen, and we can see the top module menu. We defaulted that the sales and the CRM modules are displayed or opened as a default, but the inventory module isn't. So if we click on, for example, the sales icon here, that closes that group, and we can open up the inventory group to select products, purchase orders, or shipping, for example. This is useful for where you've got a smaller monitor. But if you've got a larger monitor where we can increase the size of the window, well then you could actually turn on all the modules to display in the top menu at all times. So that covers opening the system for the first time. Initially you'd probably want to go into Setup and specify the various setup settings in here. And there's various video tutorials that cover each of those separately.